This is The Herd.
Thank you. Thank you very much, America.
From the worldwide leader in sports, this is The Herd on ESPN Radio and ESPNRadio.com. Now, here's Colin Cowherd.
It's The Herd on ESPN Radio. Wherever you may be, thanks for making our Casual Dress Friday part of your day. Man, we are packed. Michael Strahan, Fox Sports, Jay Billis, Mark Teixeira of the Yankees, USC head coach Tim Floyd, Hubert Davis an hour from now in studio. Just saw him in the CAF. It is great to be here. Reading the headline. Who wrote this story, Amanda? I'm not sure who wrote this story. Just ESPN.com. Andy Katz wrote this. All right, he's our college basketball analyst. Here's the first line in Andy Katz's story from Boston. Who saw that coming from Villanova? Well, us. We've been saying for 2 days, going to be a blowout, Villanova. And to give Eric in Bloomington, Indiana some credit, Eric Hauk said, dude, you nailed it. No matter the score, like you said, Villanova would win double figures. The entire game they felt better. With a nod to past flare-ups I've had at you, I apologize, you rule. Eric, thank you. We don't rule. We're wrong all the time. But I'll tell you this much. In college, and I was watching the game last night on my 52-inch
Vizio.
My 52-inch
Vizio.
What a television.
Ooh-wee.
So I'm watching the game last night, and in pro sports, here's something that doesn't matter much, but in college sports is humongous. The eyeball test. Okay, in pro sports, all the teams are good. You can look at the Steelers, you can look at the Texans, even the Lions look big. In the NBA, everybody's got ballers. But in college sports, it's the land of haves and have-nots. It's the land of academically rigid schools, academically loose schools. Okay, Purdue, UConn, I turned that game on, Purdue, UConn, on my 52-inch
Vizio.
2 seconds in, I said, UConn's going to wax these guys. Bigger, stronger, thicker, NBA-ish looking. And I turned on the Villanova-Duke game on my 52-inch.
Vizio.
That baby was over 4 minutes in. I don't care how close it was. When you look at the numbers from last night's Duke game, here is what jumps out at you. Duke shot 26.7%. Worst shooting night ever in the NCAA tournament. They barely had more field goals than turnovers. That's being physically intimidated. That's being physically overmatched. It reminds me a few years ago, and I've said Duke basketball is Notre Dame football. A few years ago, Notre Dame played a bowl game against LSU. And Notre Dame had Brady Quinn, first-round NFL quarterback. LSU did not. And Notre Dame was, I think that was the mock year. Notre Dame was so physically intimidated, was so physically overwhelmed. I mean, LSU averaged 7 yards a carry. And that Duke game last night, and this is why I've said Duke basketball is Notre Dame football. Watch the games. Do the eyeball test. Notre Dame football against Navy or Big Ten fodder, Purdue, Stanford, a tired Michigan program, that's one thing. Watch the games against USC and LSU. Look at the athletes. UConn against the rest of the Big East, Louisville, Pitt, just a bunch of guys. You watch them against Purdue. You see Villanova against Duke. There's one team, as I'm watching the game, as I'm sitting there watching the beautiful game on my 52-inch
Vizio.
There's no question who's got more jacked up athletes. No question. And I've said this, we're in a new era in college sports. Okay? 7,000 games on a year in college basketball, 7,000 games a year on college football. Kids have choices, and I'm here to tell you with Duke and Notre Dame, small, academically rigid campuses are really struggling to keep up once they get out of their comfort zone. Duke's 8-0 playing in the Carolinas since 2004 in the tournament. They're 3-6 out of it. You get them out of their comfort zone, you get them out of that state, Duke's not very good. And Duke is physically overmatched. You take out Gerald Henderson, they don't have a guy on that team that can break down anybody. mean, Duke hasn't won against the top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament in 8 years. Notre Dame's won 1 bowl game in 12. If their name wasn't Duke, would we even pay attention? If their name wasn't Notre Dame football, would we even pay attention? We are in a new era, and that is why we call Duke getting whacked. Watch the games in college. Your initial instinct says it all.